Anthony Pompliano joins me now. He knows a thing or two about crypto. In your opinion, what would be the ideal way to regulate crypto?
Well, I think there's two different things. The SEC's got to get clear rules in place. Obviously, Bitcoin is through the regulatory threshold. I think it's very well accepted. It's not a security, and investors are going to continue to buy that asset and hold that asset. But there's a whole nother plethora of assets that exist in the market, and people want to know, are these securities? Are they not? How should they be treated? The second thing is not only regulation, which this crypto task force is focused on, but also what can Donald Trump do to further push this forward? More than 50% of his net worth is now in the crypto market. And so obviously he's paying attention to this. But I think there's three things. They can repeal SAB 121, which would allow banks to hold these assets and make it more safe for people. The second thing is that we can establish a Bitcoin strategic reserve and have the United States government now buying Bitcoin in the market. And then the third thing is we should change the tax treatment of these assets. Right now, if you buy goods or services with Bitcoin, even though it's a currency, you still pay capital gains tax. And so removing those three things, I think, would really be a tailwind for the industry as well.
Are you a fan of the strategic Bitcoin reserve? Because the government starts buying and up goes the price, right?
Well, I think that obviously the price will go up. But the more important thing is that the U.S. government currently holds a lot of gold. So do many central banks around the world. And Bitcoin is pristine collateral. It is gold with wings. And so the United States government buying Bitcoin is not only a really big deal for the United States today, but actually the future health of the United States, having an asset like this in its reserves. And I think probably one of the most important parts about this strategic Bitcoin reserve is that it would signal to the rest of the world that this asset has finally arrived. Donald Trump campaigned as being the first Bitcoin president. And I do think that he is going to establish that strategic Bitcoin reserve.
But the Trump coin has annoyed a lot of people in crypto because he's competing with established crypto. They don't like it.
Well, I think what he basically did, look, in the stock market, DJT stock trades at like $7 billion market cap on $4 million of revenue. And this is just kind of a continuation of that, right? It's kind of insanity in the market from a valuation standpoint. But I do think there's a lot of people, myself included, that say, look, Bitcoin is the king of the market. Bitcoin is the most important thing to focus on. It's really important that we go and establish that strategic Bitcoin reserve. And the question is, if you are going to establish the reserve, you don't want to announce it and then go buy it because you basically tipped your hand. Instead, you want to go buy it and then tell everyone you did. Right. And so there's a lot of disappointment right now that he didn't do an executive order on day one, but maybe the U.S. government is actually buying Bitcoin right now, and then they'll announce it once they're done.
Anthony, I want you to listen to Trump announcing the multi-billion-dollar AI infrastructure project. You got to watch this, roll it.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate, a new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
Well, Anthony, what I'm interested in is keeping America in the lead in AI. Does this deal do that?
America is the major leagues of capital markets. Everyone in the world wants to come here and play. And so there are many countries around the world that want to be the leader, but the U.S. is the leader. If you go to San Francisco, if you go to Silicon Valley and you look at what's being built there, we have the best companies. We have many of the best technologies. What I think is really important is that there's been a lot of investors who have been saying, hey, what is the regulatory treatment going to be? What is the government? Are they going to try to use regulatory capture to prevent upstarts and kind of challengers? Or are you going to let capitalism play? Are you going to let the free market reign? And I think what Donald Trump is basically saying here is, hey, I am going to deregulate. I'm going to allow the entrepreneurs to build companies. I'm going to let investors bring their capital here. And we're about 48 hours into his presidency, and I think there's been $3 trillion of capital investment already announced.
A lot.
And so anytime that you have Masa, Larry Ellison, Sam Altman, and many others saying, hey, we are going to go all in on this, it's something to pay attention to.
All right, let's change the subject. Anthony, thanks for joining us.